Hi, second grade. It's the week before Valentine's Day. So today we're going to read a story about a hedgehog. And then we're going to do a Valentine's Day craft that I've only done one year. I did it last year. And it's a little bit tricky, but it was really, really fun. So we're going to spend the first 9 minutes watching the book, and then we'll spend the remaining time together making a hedgehog Valentine's craft. So I'm going to share my screen with you, and we're going to get started on the story.
The Tale of Mrs. Tiggywinkle by Beatrix Potter. Once upon a time, there was a little girl called Lucy who lived at a farm called Littletown. She was a good little girl, only she was always losing her pocket handkerchiefs. One day, little Lucy came into the farmyard crying. Oh, she did cry so. I've lost my pocket hankin, 3 hankins and a penny. Have you seen them, Tabby Kitten? The kitten went on washing her white paws, so Lucy asked a speckled hen. Sally Henny Penny, have you found 3 pocket hankins? But the speckled hen ran into a barn, clucking. I go barefoot, barefoot, barefoot. And then Lucy asked Cock Robin, sitting on a twig. Cock Robin looked sideways at Lucy with his bright black eye, and he flew over a stile and away. Lucy climbed upon the stile and looked up at a hill behind Littletown, a hill that goes up, up into the clouds as though it had no top. And a great way up the hillside, she thought she saw some white things spread upon the grass. Lucy scrambled up the hill as fast as her stout legs could carry her. She ran along a steep pathway, up and up, until Littletown was right away down below, and she could have dropped a pebble down the chimney. Presently she came to a spring, bubbling out from the hillside. Someone had stood a tin can upon a stone to catch the water, but the water was already running over, for the can was no bigger than an egg cup. And where the sand upon the path was wet, there were footmarks of a very small person. Lucy ran on and on. The path ended under a big rock. The grass was short and green, and there were crops cut from bracken stems, with lines of plaited rushes and a heap of tiny clothespins, but no pocket handkerchiefs. But there was something else, a door, straight into the hill, and inside it someone was singing. Lily white and clean, oh, with little frills between, oh, smooth and hot, red rusty spot, never here be seen, oh. Lucy knocked once, twice, and interrupted the song. A little frightened voice called out, Who's that? Lucy opened the door, and what do you think there was inside the hill? A nice clean kitchen with a flagged floor and wooden beams, just like any other farm kitchen. Only the ceiling was so low that Lucy's head nearly touched it, and the pots and pans were small, and so was everything there. There was a nice hot singy smell, and at the table, with an iron in her hand, stood a very stout, short person staring anxiously at Lucy. Her print gown was tucked up, and she was wearing a large apron over her striped petticoat. Her little black nose went sniffle, sniffle, snuffle, and her eyes went twinkle, twinkle, and underneath her cap, where Lucy had yellow curls, that little person had prickles. Who are you? Said Lucy. Have you seen my pocket hankins? The little person made a bob curtsy. Oh, yes, if you please, my name is Mrs. Tiggywinkle. Oh, yes, if you please, I'm an excellent clear starcher. And she took something out of a clothes basket and spread it on the ironing blanket. What's that thing? Said Lucy. That's not my pocket hankin. Oh, no, if you please, that's a little scarlet waistcoat belonging to Cock Robin. And she ironed it and folded it and put it on one side. Then she took something else off a clothes horse. That isn't my penny, said Lucy. Oh, no, if you please, that's a damask tablecloth belonging to Jenny Wren. Look how it's stained with currant wine. It's very bad to wash, said Mrs. Tiggywinkle. Mrs. Tiggywinkle's nose went sniffle, sniffle, snuffle, and her eyes went twinkle, twinkle, and she fetched another hot iron from the fire. There's one of my pocket hankins, cried Lucy, and there's my penny. Mrs. Tiggywinkle ironed it and goffered it and shook out the frills. Oh, that is lovely, said Lucy. And what are those long yellow things with fingers like gloves? Oh, that's a pair of stockings belonging to Sally Henny Penny. Look how she's worn the heels out with scratching in the yard. She'll very soon go barefoot, said Mrs. Tiggywinkle. Why, there's another handkerchief. But it isn't mine. It's red. Oh, no, if you please 'em. That one belongs to old Mrs. Rabbit, and it did so smell of onions. I've had to wash it separately. I can't get out the smell. There's another one of mine, said Lucy. What are those funny little white things? That's a pair of mittens belonging to Tabby Kitten. I only have to iron them. She washes them herself. There's my last pocket hankins, said Lucy. And what are you dipping into the basin of starch? They're little dicky shirt fronts belonging to Tom Titmouse. Most terrible particular, said Mrs. Tiggywinkle. Now I've finished my ironing, I'm going to air some clothes. What are these dear, soft, fluffy things? Said Lucy. Oh, those are woolly coats belonging to the little lambs at Shelgull. Will their jackets take off? Asked Lucy. Oh, yes, if you please 'em. Look at the sheep mark on the shoulder. And here's one marked for Gatesgarth, and 3 that come from Littletown. They're always marked at washing, said Mrs. Tiggywinkle. And she hung up all sorts and sizes of clothes, small brown coats of mice, and one velvety black moleskin waistcoat, and a red tailcoat with no tail belonging to Squirrel Nutkin, and a very much shrunk blue jacket belonging to Peter Rabbit, and a petticoat, not marked, that had gone lost in the washing, and at last the basket was empty. Then Mrs. Tiggywinkle made tea, a cup for herself and a cup for Lucy. They sat beside the fire on a bench and looked sideways at one another. Mrs. Tiggywinkle's hand holding the teacup was very, very brown and very, very wrinkly with the soap suds, and all through her gown and her cap there were hairpins sticking wrong end out, so that Lucy didn't like to sit too near to her. When they had finished tea, they tied up the clothes in bundles, and Lucy's pocket handkerchiefs were folded up inside her clean pinny and fastened with a silver safety pin. And then they made up the fire with turf and came out and locked the door and hid the key under the doorsill. Then away down the hill trotted Lucy and Mrs. Tiggywinkle with the bundles of clothes. All the way down the path, little animals came out of the fern to meet them. The very first that they met were Peter Rabbit and Benjamin Bunny. And she gave them their nice clean clothes, and all the little animals and birds were so very much obliged to dear Mrs. Tiggywinkle. So that at the bottom of the hill, when they came to the stile, there was nothing left to carry except Lucy's one little bundle. Lucy scrambled up the stile with the bundle in her hand, and then she turned to say good night and to thank the washerwoman. But what a very odd thing! Mrs. Tiggywinkle had not waited either for thanks or for the washing bill. She was running up the hill, and where was her white frilled cap and her shawl and her gown and her petticoat? Oh, how small she had grown, and how brown and covered with prickles. Why, Mrs. Tiggywinkle was nothing but a hedgehog. Now, some people say that little Lucy had been asleep upon the stile. But then, how could she have found 3 clean pocket hankins and a penny pinned with a silver safety pin? And besides, I've seen that door into the back of the hill called Cat Bells, and besides, I'm very well acquainted with dear Mrs. Tiggywinkle. The end.
Okay, something different. Most of you probably haven't read a Beatrix Potter book, but there are lots of them that you could look up. I read some of them when I was a little girl. They've been around for a while. My mom had them when she was a kid, so they're older older stories that are just a little different. Obviously, the vocabulary is quite a bit different. The lady that read the book had an accent, so she was from somewhere else, and that's, I believe, where those stories originated from was overseas. So we're gonna do the craft now, and I need you to you're gonna need these two pieces of paper, one that has all the hearts on it that says stuck on you, this tan one that's next to it that has the shapes for the head, the feet, the arms, the body, and then you have a brown piece of construction paper. Okay, so you'll need to find these. You need to find a pair of scissors and some glue. So find those items, press pause if you need to like look around for them more than this. And then you also need a glue stick. You're gonna need scissors, and then I'm gonna use a Sharpie, or you might want to use a black crayon, a black marker, something black to draw on the eyes and the nose of the hedgehog. So press pause, find all your materials, and then I want you to cut these 2 pages out, okay? So cut those pages out, get your materials together. We'll come back and we'll put it together in a minute. Okay, I hope you had time to cut out all your materials. So I have my 6 hearts cut out, my 2 legs, my 2 arms, my head, and my body. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to glue on my body, and I'm going to glue it towards the bottom of my paper. I'm going to show you because you still have to fit the head on up there. So I'm going to glue it on about here, leave a little space because I'm going to glue my feet here. So just glue on your body, and I'm doing it with you. Make sure you get the edges so it stays down. And then make sure you press it on. Nice and good. The next part we're gonna do is the head. And the head, the heart shape is going to be right side up. So when you glue it down, it's gonna look like a heart, okay? And it's gonna go into the body. So it's not going directly on top. You're gonna glue it down a bit, okay? Right about here. So put some glue on that, make sure it looks like a heart when you glue it down. I'm gonna flip my heart over so I don't have to see any of the black. Should have done that with my body. Black that I missed. The black, this black part from the printer is gonna be glued down. Okay. Next, I'm gonna do his feet. These 2 oval shapes are his feet, and I'm gonna do them this way on my page. So not up and down, but like laying down like how an egg would lay on your counter. I'm gonna glue them here and here. If you're not sure what to do, just wait a second and I will show you my finished one. And then if you wanna press pause to get yours glued on, you can always pause the video if I'm going too fast. You know, sometimes people are a little bit faster than I am. Okay, so I got my legs, my feet, my legs glued on here. Okay. Next are his arms. So here's what I need you to do. You're not going to do his arms first. You're going to find one of your hearts, one of your plain hearts, and you're going to glue that one on his body first. And it's going to be between his nose or her nose and the feet. And you're going to glue it straight in the middle. Okay, so just one heart, one plain heart, and it's going to go right in the middle there. Again, I'm gluing down. I'm putting glue on the part where the black is showing because I don't want that to be something that can be seen. Okay, after I've done that, I'm going to do the arms. So the arms are going to come from either side. So they're going to come from here. And here, I'm going to try to match it up with the tan on the outside. Okay, so go ahead and glue the arms down. Yes, we still have 5 hearts left. We have not glued those down yet. Be a little bit more careful about this one. Okay. The rest is going to be a little bit tricky. So I got our arms here, but I still have 5 hearts left. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find the heart that says stuck on you, and it's going to be at the top of my pile. So I'm going to make this one the top one, and then I'm going to stack my other ones together. So I've got a stack. This looks like one heart, but it's all of my hearts stacked together. Okay. And then I'm going to put the stuck on you one on top. So I've got a stuck on you, and then I've got a stack, all of my hearts in here. And I'm going to fold it in half. So I'm folding it to make 1/2 of a heart. It's not going to be perfect. Oh, I lied. I already crunched mine. You're folding it this way. It doesn't matter. If you already folded it the other way, it doesn't matter. So you're folding it so the words are on the inside. Don't do a really hard fold. Just push it in. You don't have to lay it down and really make a straight edge. Okay, so here's the tricky part. I'm going to show you my table right here. I'm going to lay this stack of hearts here. Okay. And then I'm going to glue them on top of my heart that's already glued down. Now, the trick is I'm not putting glue all over the heart. I'm only putting glue down the crease. So I'm taking this heart. This is my top heart that doesn't have any writing on it. Remember, my heart that has writing on it is here. And I'm going to glue just down the middle here. That's it. And then I'm going to stick it on top of my existing heart. And I'm going to push down the middle. And I'm going to do that for every single heart. So now I'm going back over here, taking the next one off my pile with no words, okay? Putting glue down the middle and then putting it on top, pushing it down. Next one. Glue down the middle, putting it on top. I'm trying to make them even so that it doesn't look like there's multiple hearts. Next one. So that when I get to the last heart, it's the heart that has the stuck on you writing. It's the last one. Okay. After you let your heart dry, I would do not do this with me. I'm going to do it because if mine falls apart, I don't care as much. You're going to want your heart to stick together. Once it's dry, I'd give it until maybe after lunch. Give it an hour. You can slowly curl up. I'll try to do it. Curl up each of the sides. If you need to pause the video to get your hearts glued on, do that now. And I'm gonna spend a minute folding mine up without them all falling off. So you'll want to do this after they're dry. And I remember last year that a lot of kids could do this job on their own, but there were quite a few kids that once their heart pieces were dry, I did this part for them because it was tricky. So if you need an adult to help you with this, please have somebody help you. Okay. but it's going to end up being to where it sticks out. Okay, like this. It's like fanned out. Okay. So there it is. You'll be able to do a better job when it's dry. Now, if you're ready, we need to do a cutting part and we need to do a drawing part. I need to put the glue stick on because we have him ready. He's just not finished. So I'm going to, with my marker, do a dot for his nose and 2 dots for his or her eyes. Just right there on the corner, the point part for its nose. And I'm gonna do her eyes, okay? And then I'm gonna do 3 lines on each of his or her toes. Like this. Now remember at the end of the Mrs. Tiddlywinks video, they said she had prickles. So that's your last job, is to give her prickles. So you need your scissors and we're going to cut prickles all the way around her. So you could do big or small triangles all the way around her body. I'm gonna do a few so you can see. And I'm cutting off a lot more in some areas because I want her, prickles to be kind of the same. Okay, but you're gonna do this all the way around her body, all the way to her head, all the way to her feet. Notice I'm getting a little lazy. They were really small spaced and now they're getting bigger and bigger. Try to make all of yours about the same size. Okay, so you're gonna cut that all along the edge. Okay, and I pressed pause and I cheat because I didn't want you to have to watch me cut all those out. But here it is. I cut along the whole edge and now you have a cute little porcupine for Valentine's Day. You can keep it. You put it on your fridge. You can give it to your mama. You can give it to your dad or your uncle or your brother or sister for a Valentine. You can even write a cute little note on the back. But here it is. It's all done. You guys did a great job today. Have a wonderful and happy Valentine's Day, and I will see you next time. Bye.